right, so with me in the studio this morning, I have Miss Dede Kwajo. She is the senior dietitian at Kolebu Hospital, and she'll be talking to us this morning about fat loss. Okay, Dede, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
First question is, how bad is fat? I mean, is it really a bad thing?
The body can't do without fat.
Right.
Okay, it has a lot of advantages. And if your fat levels even go very low, it also has its own complications.
Okay.
But we know that anything in excess will definitely bring challenges.
Okay.
And fat in excess is a problem too.
All right. How does fat get into the system? How does it, start turning up? Because not everybody starts out fat, do they?
I love your question so much. So we can start right at the beginning. I was looking at the video and it said how to burn that fat or the fat, as if it invited itself.
That's right.
You woke up one day and then, hey, the fat is there. It's a process. The body has been coded to react to certain things. Let me try to make it so simple. You are supposed to use what you take in terms of your food as a source of energy.
Right.
Okay. The body measures energy in terms of calories. Okay. So in the same way we'll have 1 Ghana cedi, like foreign currencies. Your body measures energy in terms of calories.
Okay.
So whatever you eat is supposed to go inside your body and give you energy to be used.
Right.
So input should be equivalent to output.
Right.
So let's take this case scenario. Someone wakes up in the morning, favorite wache, so everything is in there, and then lunch, love the kinky, so 3 balls of kinky.
Wow.
Then in between a soft drink or some pastry. Then for supper, go home, some really nice banku. The person loves it. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay, what the body will do is that you have given me all this because the body will burn the food you ate to produce energy. The question is, what did you do with it? Let's say the person ate this, and then at the end of the day, let me give an example. The person releases, let's say, 2,000 calories. That's the energy value of everything the person ate from morning to evening. And then the output, what the person does with it, that energy is just 1,000.
Right.
So you have a balance of 1,000.
1,000 still sitting around.
Yes. The body is not wasteful. It's going to store that energy as fat.
Right.
Okay, so every day this process is repeated and you're not using what you're taking in.
So you're just basically filling up your storeroom without clearing out
exactly.
the stock.
The body is storing the fat in anticipation that a day might come when you need it. You don't have something to eat. Something is happening in the country, there's no food. So it's going to bring the fat from the storehouse and help your body run.
Right.
But here's the case, that day never comes and you keep piling up. Then you see that you're gradually putting on weight.
Right.
So the excess from your nutrition or your nutritional intake is converted.
So even if, let's just say hypothetically that 3 times a day, you're having 3 square meals, healthy meals even, but so long as you're not burning those meals, they're still going to be stocking up on you.
They're still going. It is a calculation.
Right.
What you take in should be used.
Okay.
If it's not used up, the body needs to do something with it. It's not going to waste it. It's going to store it as fat.
So what's the best, safest, most comfortable way of losing weight then? Because that seems to be the trend at the moment. Hardly anybody I know is trying to put on weight.
Yeah.
Besides me, maybe. I don't know. But besides that, everyone's trying to lose weight. So what's the best and most comfortable way?
You start by not storing the fat in the first place.
So you cut down on that.
You cut down. Because it's so difficult. It is a storeroom. The body is storing it. So it's not going to release it very easily. Because it goes through a process. For you to get the fat out of the system, it takes a lot.
Right.
Because it's in the storage system of your body. It's the last thing it wants to use. Okay, so first of all, make sure that calculation system, you are using what you are taking in, so that the fat is not stored in the first place. And then the next thing is, you have to force the body to use the fat, raising the activity level. Okay, so if you are somebody who is through your activity, you are using 1,000 calories out of your 2,000 you are taking. either you cut down to meet that 1,000 calories you are taking, or now your activity goes so high that you can be able to use
all of that,
yes,
right?
so that you don't store it.
All right. So besides, so that's cutting down.
Yes.
What else can we do to lose weight?
You could exercise. That's when you try to push your activity level to a certain level where you'll be able to burn what you are using more.
Right.
You become more active.
So for those who would usually have some lunch and just sit down, what would you advise them to do?
You try to be active.
Walk around.
Do
a little bit more.
Do a little bit more. You know, first of all, you have to know how much you are taking in and how much you are using. So it's good to consult somebody who can look at your lifestyle and try to relate it with what you are taking. Because somebody is taking lunch and sitting down, but the amount the person took doesn't sufficiently even meet the amount the person is using. Okay, so first of all, you try to make sure that what you are taking is just enough for your activity. Then the other thing you can do is try to, as you said, walk around. Try to be as active as you can.
Okay. Now, in regards to exercise, not everybody should exercise though, should they?
Yes. Some people, you should consult your doctor.
Right.
Some people have some health conditions, and even the type of exercise that they undertake, it could affect the health condition negatively. Okay, for somebody is hypertensive and has not been cleared to exercise, and the person goes to exercise, and that can raise the BP levels extremely high.
Okay.
So you have to consult your doctor, your physiotherapist, to be able to know what sort of exercise will be suitable for your condition.
Okay. At this point in time, I want to acknowledge our other guest, Dr. Dominic K. Obing Ando. He's a general medical surgeon, and he's specialized in obstetrics and gynecology as well. So welcome. How are you this morning, sir? Good. Now, I've been talking to NewDay here. She's a dietitian. We've been talking about trying to find ways of losing weight. Now, trending at the moment is a new procedure. Well, not a new procedure, but it's new on the scene. Liposuction. From your professional experience, how healthy is liposuction?
Oh yeah, it is pretty healthy. First of all, we do not just do it for anybody.
So you do screenings before you do?
Yes, we have to examine the individual before we do anything. But it's pretty safe and has a very good and lasting results for those.
Dr. Ando, I know various people out there will try and be finding out what kind of screenings that you do. So what is it that you would look out for? Or what are the key indicators that would push you to say yes or no, this particular candidate is suitable for liposuction?
Yeah, first of all, the individual has to be fit. You shouldn't have any debilitating disease, like say a chronic heart disease that is going to affect you. You shouldn't be ill. You shouldn't be sick.
Okay.
First of all, further, if the individual is say smoking, you should be willing to hold that for a little while before we do that.
Okay.
These are some of the things. Some people are on certain medications that we may not advise that they do it. Some medications that make them bleed, excessively, we may have to suspend that, for a while. These are some of the things we do.
Okay. Now, also in regards to the screening, like you said, there's certain people that you wouldn't do it for if they have certain diseases. So those people who right now are, let's just say, clinically obese, who may be suffering from slight hypertension, maybe diabetes, these are not candidates for liposuction.
It is a misconception. People who have diabetes can have liposuction when they are properly screened, when they are on the right medication, when the doctor is aware of these conditions. If you have hypertension, you could do it. The most important thing is making the doctor aware of any illness that you have and really assess. And more so, these procedures, these are done under local anesthesia. That is, the person is not put to sleep. So to a very large extent, minimizes all the risk that people might want to associate any kind of a procedure for. So they can have that.
Okay. And in regards to after liposuction, what happens? Can the fat be regenerate in those areas, or is it a one-time solution?
First of all, let's understand it. Liposuction removes the fat cells.
Right.
And fat cells removed after 18 years will not regenerate.
Okay.
The body will regenerate itself by cell reproduction once you are below 18 years. But once you are 18, or I'd say about 20 years, the cells will not generate again. Okay. So liposuction with the fat removal, it is a permanent procedure for the area in question.
Okay.
This is not like it's an oven that you go into that it burns, takes off the fat cells, but it's a targeted area. So if, for instance, the tummy area that you had liposuction for, those fat cells that have been removed will not come back.
Okay. Now, between the two, exercise and liposuction, obviously there are after effects of everything. If somebody has been big and all of a sudden had liposuction, what's the tendency of their body's elasticity going back to normal?
First of all, it depends on the individual doing the procedure. These days, the procedure has been so well advanced. In fact, currently we're using very high-tech equipment like the VESA that helps to get the skin to really shrink. So we've gotten people have the procedure done that hitherto would think of a loose and excess skin that really do not show up, at least from my experience. Although any fat removed from an area has that kind of tendency, even with diet and even with exercise, once the fat is lost. However, the added benefit of these current procedures like the VESA liposelection, for instance, or sometimes even the laser, helps the skin to
what's
shrink.
the difference between the two?
There is a difference. The spelling is almost the same. You have VESA and laser. Just replace the L with vein. But VESA, it is an ultrasound assisted procedure. It uses ultrasound, and laser uses heat. Basically, just for people to understand that. But what is really trending, what people may find more relief for, is the VESA. For its benefit. The other thing is that because it's liposelection, it carefully selects the fat cells, leaving your blood vessels, leaving your nerves, leaving your matrix all intact, and then gets that kind of good skin retraction and then good healing. Okay,
Doc, one question I'm sure everybody's asking right now: is it cheap?
No. It's not cheap, especially when we're using some of these high-tech equipment.
Yeah. What's the average cost?
I struggle to say, and especially for instance in our facility, it's highly advanced in the way that people come and ask for all sorts of things.
Thousands of CDs?
Yeah, maybe.
Tens of thousands?
Maybe, depending on what they want. You'll be amazed what people really want.
Does the cost depend on how much fat you have to suck out?
Depending on the areas. It's usually area dependent, and then the kind of results the person is expecting. The person is expecting a flat, slim, curvy, very shapely body. Now we are applying the fat cells sometimes to do certain augmentation in certain parts of
them in other places.
In the body. So the artistic creativity of the procedure makes the procedure get to a different level altogether.
Okay, now between the two of you, obviously there's a lot of people out there this morning, and the topic is weight loss. Just a little bit of advice for anybody out there who wants to lose weight, please.
You could lose weight if you put your mind to it, but it takes a lot of discipline, because as I said earlier, the body is unwilling to release the fat. It's storing it for maybe some event in the future. So first of all, you try as much as possible to make sure it doesn't get there in the first place.
So you cut down on the meals?
Cut down on it. Try to be as active as possible. If it's already there, you go with the old-fashioned method of exercising, and then, as Doc said, there are other procedures that you could do.
Yeah, it is good in that you haven't have a dietitian here. We still advise our patients to see dietitians and exercise and do all these traditional things. However, certain people may not get that kind of results, and let's be very realistic. Especially in certain targeted areas. Certain areas we will call them stubborn fat, like the tummy, the arms, the thigh, and certain kinds of shape that a procedure is able to achieve. So if people do not understand, sometimes it's like climbing Mount Everest 1 billion times. Certain results can be achieved, like that. So I think that people need to know and know the various alternatives. Besides, some of these procedures ends up becoming a stepping stone, a boost in their ego, the self-confidence, even to exercise, even to diet. Because the other thing again is that with weight loss and all that, sometimes some people lose weight and they look sick. So that in itself tends up to become a negative stigma on them, and then makes them go back. Because sometimes they want to target a particular area that these traditional, non-traditional things does not seem to work. Again, also doing these procedures does not mean that forget about diet, forget about exercise. We always, in fact, to do the procedure in our center, we always have to make you understand that this is not an all-in-all procedure. You need to combine. It's just the way of putting all our things together. The patient becoming a factor. And using some of these these things to achieve. Yes, it is pretty healthy. Once we understand that, we get people happy with the way they look and get good results.
All right. I want to thank you so much for coming in this morning and gracing us with some of your education about this. And also want to thank Lipton Tea, inspiration flowing from nature, and Voltic Natural Mineral Water for being the sponsors of this segment. This has been NewDay Kwajo. She's a senior dietitian at College Hospital, and Dr. Dominic K. Obeng Ando.